Hello students and welcome back. So we have already seen in the previous two videos that how people from all over the country came together and declared Bahadur Shah Zafar as their leader, and they started the revolt against the Britishers, and how initially Britishers were shaken by it. In the starting they didn't knew how to take over the condition, how to control the situation, and Indians were winning at that point. Now today we'll see how the company fights back, how do they counter attack on the revolt. So the company decided to suppress the revolt with all its might. So now they have decided, they have seen that Indians are not stoppable right now. So with all their forces, all their arms, whatever they had, they brought it together and tried to suppress the revolt. Reinforcements were brought in from England. So whatever things that were lacking in India from Britishers side, the arms, the troops and everything, they were called from England. New laws were passed to make it easy to convict the rebels. So whatever were the old laws, it was made and it was reformed so that they could easily attack on Indians and they can give them some serious punishments, okay, so that they can convict, like they can just kill the Indians in short. So the company then moved forces into the storm centers of the revolt, and now when the company got all its powers from England, so what did they do? They moved towards the main centers, the main areas where this revolt had been started, and the rulers are ruling from that side. Now Delhi was captured from the rebel forces in September 1857, and Delhi was then recaptured, like all the Delhi that was now under Bahadur Shah Zafar. So it was also taken back by the Britishers and it was recaptured in 1857. So all these things were happening. Now arrest of the last Mughal emperor. So finally when Bahadur Shah Zafar was arrested, so Delhi was already recaptured and he was tried in a court and sentenced to life imprisonment. So he was called in the court and said that because you have led the revolt, so he was sentenced to life imprisonment. He would remain in the jail for his lifetime. His sons were shot dead before his eyes, and so that his sons could not rebel against Britishers, so they were shot in front of him only. He was sent into prison in Rangoon along with his wife Begum Zinnat Mahal in October 1858, and the last Mughal emperor died in Rangoon jail in November 1862. So this was how the Mughal era came to an end. Now the long battle. So it was almost 2 years completely control the situation. So Britishers took 2 years. It took 2 years for them to control the entire situation. Lucknow was recaptured in March 1858. Rani Lakshmibai was killed in a battle in June 1858, and Tatya Tope escaped to jungles of central India. He continued to wage a guerrilla war with the support of many tribal and peasant leaders, and finally he was also captured, tried and killed in 1859. So nobody was left. So now you can see with the red are the main centers of the revolt. The red triangles are the main places where the revolt had taken place, and the black were the small centers where the revolt had been going on. Okay, now shifting loyalties. So the defeat of the rebel forces encouraged desertions from the ranks of the rebel forces. The British also tried to win back people's loyalty. Now when these revolts have been suppressed by the Britishers, so what did they started doing? They tried to convince the people of India towards them that rewards were announced for loyal landholders, that if you will remain loyal to the Britishers, you will be given rewards. The loyal landlords were allowed to enjoy the traditional rights over the land, and those landlords who give their loyalties to Britishers, they were given their land back. The rebels were told that if they submitted to the British, they would remain safe and their claims and rights would not be denied. And those who were the part of the revolt, those rebels were said that if you will submit, if you will give your services to the Britishers, then your rights would not be denied and you will be remain safe, you will not be killed. But there was a condition that they had not killed any white people. So if you want to remain safe, then there is a condition that you will not kill any white in a future also, and also in the battle also you have not killed any white, then only you will be given these privileges. So hundreds of sepoys, rebels, nawabs and rajas were tried and hanged. And because during the revolt it was only against the Britishers, and they were white people only, so some or the other sepoy or nawab or rebel had already killed the white person. So hundreds of them were tried, they were executed, and now they were hanged also, they were killed. So it was all the conditions of the Britishers. If they were fulfilled, then they were happy, and if anybody tried to go against them, then they were hanged and they were killed. So now we'll see what are the aftermath. Aftermath means the after effects of the war. The British could regain the control of the country by the end of 1859, but the situation had changed to such an extent that they were not in a position to rule the country with their earlier policies. Many changes were introduced by the British. So, since they have already gained control over the country again, but things have changed a lot. People's mindset have changed a lot. So, they also needed to change their policies. So, a new act was passed in 1858 by the British Parliament. And what does it say? The new act transferred the powers of the East India Company to the British Crown. This was done to ensure a more responsible management of Indian affairs. So, initially East India Company was handling everything in India, but now all the powers were given to the Queen. Okay, a member of the British cabinet was appointed as the Secretary of State for India. He was given the responsibility of all matters related to the governance of India. Now, after the Queen, after the Crown, there was a British cabinet appointed, in which there were many people who took decisions from England, that what will happen in India, what decisions, what policies are to be made in India. And there was a Secretary of State for India, specially appointed in that cabinet, who will look after all the affairs, all the governance matters in India. So a council called the Indian Council was given to him. The title of the Governor General of India was changed to the title of Viceroy of India, and the Viceroy was a personal representative of the British Crown. So now Viceroy was appointed as a whole for India, and he used to give all the information to the British Crown. What else happened? Thus, the British government accepted the direct responsibility of ruling over India. Now, till now, they were just company ruling small territories, but now they accepted now that they are the rulers of India. All ruling chiefs of the country were assured that their territory would never be annexed in future. They could not pass on their kingdoms to their heirs, including adopted son. But they had to acknowledge the British Queen as their sovereign paramount. The Indian rulers were to hold their kingdom as subordinates of the British Crown. So the Rajas and all the rulers of India were told that whatever rule you are doing over a territory, it will be yours, but you will be subordinate to the crown only. You will not be the sole rulers of that territory, but you have to give answers to the Queen. A decision was taken to reduce the proportion of Indian soldiers in the army and to increase the proportion of European soldiers. So, in Indian army there were less number of Indian soldiers, more number of European soldiers. A decision was also taken not to recruit soldiers from Awadh, Bihar, Central India and South India. The decision was to recruit more soldiers from among the Gurkhas, Sikhs and Pathans, and this was done. That soldiers from these parts only will be there in the army, not from Awadh, Bihar and Central India and South India. So the Muslims were treated with suspicion and hostility, and the land and property was confiscated on a large scale. Why so? Because they belonged to the descendants of the Mughals. So they were not trusted very nicely by the Britishers, and all their properties were also seized. The British decided to respect the customary religious and social practices of Indians. Also, they decided that they will not go against any religious belief or practice of any Indian. Policies were made to protect the landlords and zamindars and give them security of rights over their lands. So, zamindars and landlords were given special powers so that they remain loyal to them. Now, we will see the summary and we will revise the entire chapter. So let's recall. When East India Company established power in India, it affected the life of Indian kings, queens, peasants, landlords, tribals and soldiers in many ways. That we have already seen that how kings and queens, peasants and landlords, tribals and soldiers lives were affected when British East India Company came as rulers in the country. Many of the rulers revolted against the policies enforced by the British. Even the peasants and zamindars lost all their powers after the Nawabs and the rulers. The sepoys were unhappy about their pay, allowance and conditions of services. So we have seen how peasants have revolted against the Britishers, how Nawabs lost their powers, then how sepoys were unhappy because they have to use those cartridges and all. Then after the British established power in India, they passed many new laws to reform the Indian society, as Sati Pratha was abolished, widow remarriage was again implemented. So all these were the reforms that had been done in the Indian society. Then many Indians started feeling that the English were destroying their religion, social customs and traditional ways of life. Like when they were not allowed, Hindus were not allowed to cross the sea, they would be outcasted. So they felt that their customs are being destroyed. So the anger of peasants quickly spread amongst the sepoys. The Sepoy Mutiny, which started in 1857, threatened British East India Company's very presence in India. So Britishers feared that if this Sepoy Mutiny is successful, then they would have been thrown out of the country. So the Britishers were shaken by this rebellion that began all over the India and it spread throughout the country. So by the end of 1859, British had regained the control over the subcontinents, means on India again they have regained their control. They defeated the Indian army. Then the British decided to respect the customary and social practices of the Indian people. They have understood that if they want to rule the country, they have to rule and they have to understand what are the conditions, social conditions of the country. And policies were made to protect landlords and zamindars and give them security of rights over their lands. So these were some of the important and key points of the chapter that summarized entire chapter. Kindly go through the video very nicely and do the question.